Okay, this is Indiana Lesson 5. It is talking about what are attributes describing three-dimensional figures. And in this example 1 here, it says, describe the attributes of polyhedrons. And so Jared describes the attributes of three-dimensional polyhedron with 2 parallel congruent bases and 4 rectangular faces. Sarah and Mandy sketch the figure that they think Jared is describing. Who is correct? Explain. So here we got Mandy's sketch, we've got Sarah's sketch. Here's a rectangular prism, and here is a cube. Now, down here, you got to understand what makes up these three-dimensional figures. One thing here is called an edge. An edge is a segment formed by the intersection of 2 faces. This prism has 12 edges. So you see the red line here, this red segment, that is an edge. We've got an edge there, we've got an edge down here, we've got an edge here, we got the edge going across there, the edge there, here. There are 12 total edges that make up this rectangular prism. Now, the prism has 2 parallel congruent bases. The bottom is a base where it's setting on, and then this is the top. And so it has, this here is a base at the end, and then this is the base at the end. These rectangles are the lateral faces. The lateral faces is what goes around here. The rectangles, the bases are these 2 here at the end are the bases. The vertex is a point where 3 or more edges come together. The prism has 8 of these, and that's these points. There's one there, one there, one there, and one there. And then you got the 4 on the other end. Those are called the vertexes, the vertices. All right, so there's 8 vertices total then on this one. Now, if you go over here and look on the cube, which is what Sarah sketched, the cube has a base where it sets on down here, which is a square. The top would be a base. And then it has 4 square lateral faces, which are the front here, this side, that side, and the back side. That is the lateral surface area, the lateral faces, I guess what they call it, the lateral faces that go around the cube. And then a cube has 8 vertices, which are the points. And it has 12 edges. Now these edges are the ones, these segments here, that's an edge. This segment going up here connecting those 2 vertices is an edge. There's an edge, there's an edge. And then don't forget you have these that are hidden, these 2 that are dashed, and then the one going there, there's another one. And so those are your edges. You have 12 of those total. So the number of edges for the rectangular prism we found to be 12. The number of edges for the cube came out to be 12. The number of vertices came out to be 8 for the rectangular prism. They also came out to be 8 for the cube. So who was correct on this? They both were. They both had the same lateral faces. They had 4 apiece. They had the 2 bases that they had, and then they had the 8 vertices, and they had the 12 edges. So both of them were correct in their drawing. Now let's go to try it. Here we have a pyramid. It is a square pyramid because it has a square base. And so the vertex where all of the triangular faces meet is called the apex. So this point at the top is called the apex. And it says describe the attributes of the pyramid. So anytime it asks you in a problem to describe the attributes, then this is what they are talking about. It wants you to name how many square bases, how many triangular lateral faces, how many edges, how many vertices. That it would be the attributes that we would be describing. So in this particular one, this pyramid has 1 square base that it sets on. So this would be 1. This pyramid has blank triangular lateral faces. Well, these are the triangular lateral faces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So 4 triangular lateral faces. This pyramid has how many edges? Well, again, these are the segments here that connect the the faces. And so that's 1, 2, and then we have the hidden one there, 3, 4. And then we have the 4 that go around the base at the bottom. And so we end up with 8 edges for this pyramid. And a pyramid has how many vertices? Well, that's the points. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 on the base, and it has the apex one at the top, and so it has 5 vertices. So when it asks you to describe the attributes of whatever figure you're dealing with, now you may have a cylinder, you may have a cone, you may have a sphere, could be a rectangular prism, could be a cube. When it asks you to describe the attributes, these are the attributes that you should be listing. All right, so you want to list those on there. You know, and if it also is one that they may not ask, but they might ask later on to name how many faces does the figure have. In this particular case, we have 4 of the lateral faces, and the base is also counted as a face. And so if it asks you how many faces are in the figure, in this particular one, there would be 5 faces, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the triangular faces, and then you have the square base, which is also counted as a face. All right, now if it says lateral faces, you don't count the base. The base is not a lateral face. Lateral faces are the ones coming up from the base on each of these triangles. But if it just asks you for faces, how many total faces, you would count the base as a face also in your figure. All right, so this is the attributes that you're going to be talking about. And again, like I say, you're going to have different figures. You're going to have cylinders, cones, spheres, rectangular prisms, cubes, or whatever, and it's going to ask you to name or describe those attributes. There are some other examples you could look at. There's 2 other examples in your book, so you can look at those online in your book and see those, and they before you do your homework as well. So this is example 1. This is what this section is dealing with. And so, like I said, when it says describe the attributes, these are the ones that they're talking about.